Welcome back. In this session, we will hear Mr. Emek Kepenek, who is the Atom Manager of ODTÜ institution. He is going to talk about the election process and how to apply to Atom institution of Middle East Technical University. Hello, Emek. Hello, thank you, Serdar. You can start when you are ready. Well, thank you very much for your kind invitation. Since the beginning of the January, Indieway has contributed a lot to the ecosystem, especially during the pandemic. It has been a great moral. Well, I'd like to thank to anyone who is supporting this ecosystem, starting with the team of organization. As Atom institution, we try to support it as much as possible. Well, today I'll talk about Atom and our activities. And also, I'm going to talk about the hints related to be in the game sector. If you would like to be part of this process, you would like to be working in this area, well, I'll maybe try to answer the question of where to start, and I will share my own experience, and I'll give recommendations to the young entrepreneurs. Well, as much as possible, we try to use an opportunity in this area because it is quite a new sector in Turkey, but it is developing quite fast. And hopefully we are now probably progressing to the middle size sector. We're not a beginner now, not anymore. Well, Atom has been part of the sector for 10 years. I'm not the founding actually member, but I have seen it is a development in the last 10 years. And there are a lot of young people actually that are contributing into the process, and I'm very proud. In 2020, and as well even today, we have been using digital a lot, and we cannot think digital without games. Games are part of our lives, and games are quite important, and they're part of the digital culture, and we are actually playing the products of games. When we think of our childhood, our lives, and when we think of our culture, well, almost anyone likes playing games, and there are many gamers, and people value gaming a lot because we are encoded culturally. Each day we see new games coming, and there are many companies launching into the market. There are more and more people who are interested in the area. And of course, this sector occurred and emerged in the 70s. And since then, it has been growing quite fast without any recession. By the way, it is a growing sector, but it is not easy to stay within the sector, keep within the sector. Turkey has entered into the sector and has been quite active, has been growing quite fast. We have great teams as country. Well, especially about mobile gaming, we have developed ourselves a lot as Turkey. So I think that it is really important to support the audience in that regard, because they're part of the whole process, and it's really important to convey some certain conditions to them. So developers cannot really advance this sector alone. So that's why we need institutions such as Atom, or fairs or activities such as Indieway, or maybe new programs or departments that are to be opened in the universities, so that we can see this common movement and we can lead to the common goal of creating this ecosystem. We already have the ecosystem. While Atom was actually created in 2008, it is Game Development Center, and it was established in Middle East Technical University Techno Center. It is an incubation center. I'd like to also add, any idea that is close to the prototyping can be presented to the incubation centers, and these centers actually help you out in that regard before you become a company. So incubation centers can be thought as support centers. For entrepreneurship, it's really important to understand if an idea can work or not without sacrificing much, or without investing a lot beforehand. So I would say that it is really important to get help and maybe a pre-idea from the incubation centers. So Atom was established for the digital and the gaming sector. That was the initial idea back then, and it was established in 2008, and I am really glad that it was actually founded back then, because now in Turkey, when we say digital ecosystem, we cannot think it without Atom, because it has as well contributed a lot. Every year, we receive a certain amount of applications, and we have a jury actually board, and we evaluate applicants, and we try to support as many applications as possible. First, we deliver an intense course, and we have as well courses of entrepreneurship and sectoral as well trainings. We convey and we get together with the teams regularly. We try to understand their requirements and the necessities, and we follow their development. And if they need help, and in case of in need, we actually intervene, and we let them survive. What is the exact difference in between our center and the other incubation centers? If you ask this question, I would say that we actually only support people or teams that are not firms or companies yet. If you are a company of 2 years or 3 years, then you can apply to us. So we admit such teams or people in our center before they become an official company. By the way, of course, teams do the whole work. We don't do everything for them, but we just guide them when they need and when there is a requirement. It's really important for teams to actually eliminate their challenges. Of course, we help them out, we cooperate in regard to solving the challenges and the problems, but for us, it is more important if they really care for solving their own problems. We do not want to offer any solution to them. We do not want to give such a support, because it's really important for them to draw their own way, their own path. Well, we are only just a helping hand for them, and this is the most important benefit of, I think, incubation centers. By the way, we do not expect all these teams to launch products into the market and to just be really successful or make a lot of money. Every year, we support 10 to 15 teams, and each team is composed of 3 to 4 people. So this is what we do annually. And in the end of the year, by the way, we give 1 year support, and we expect them to become company or a firm in the end of the year. It's not an obligation, it's not a must though. But of course, if they actually act very inefficient or unproductive, or if they do not have enough motivation, of course, we can step in and we can push them out a little bit so that they can reach out to a certain level. So in average, it has increased actually in the last years, but every year 1 or 2 actually companies are founded with our help. This is the case for the entrepreneurship world, startups. They sometimes just actually just give up in the first year, and they continue with other careers or with other paths. So if we support 10 to 15 actually teams every year, it means that we actually guide maybe 2% of them because they become companies in the end of the year. Well, this number, this percentage, by the way, has augmented in the last few years. Well, hyper-casual games, of course, have a certain impact on that, and gaming ecosystem as well has progressed a lot in recent years. As Atom, our only purpose is that the teams would only have a game focus. If you would like to produce a game mechanic, then it's good for us. Or if you would like to make a FIFA, then of course this is open for your application. Or you can maybe just produce a gaming console. It's also admitted by us. That's fine by us. So animations as well are admitted and are appreciated. We do not have any precondition such as that it has to be PC or other type of maybe traditional actually devices. Well, for us, this idea of innovation is highly important. This is what we are looking for. The most important selection criteria is actually this coherency in between the team and the idea, coherency of the team, their actual capacity, capability, their experience. Well, these are quite important for us, and if the teams are already experienced, then we take them right away without further questioning. So Atom does not give actually basic courses or elemental courses to the participants. So all the applicants should be experienced actually in the area. They have to be really active, innovative. Well, we admit them to Atom, and we support them for 1 year via our courses and guidance. Well, this is an important work to us, and also ministries, development agencies are the partners that we cooperate with. We give them consultancy together with Turkey Gaming actually association, and Atom is in the board of this association, by the way. We act certainly, and we try to support the state, and we want the states to prepare actually policies for the field, and we give them a consultancy as well. While we have cooperated with the development agency, we do a common project. We would like to increase our capacity. We would like to double it. It is a 2-year project so that we can actually admit more applicants into the program. Well, 2 days ago, actually, we organized an important international program that was the design workshop. So we keep actually organizing panels and conferences, and as well, we will organize courses. So our actually intention is not only giving a certain course to our applicants, but we would like to support anyone who is interested in the area. We are planning to distribute as well certificates, cooperating with the Ministry of Youth. Because I believe that this sector is quite newly developing in Turkey. It's not a classical or traditional sector, such as the sector of furniture, for example. While it is history dates back to 20 years ago or 25 years ago, and young people are just the main actual engine of this sector, to be honest. And maybe this is also the case for the world. It is also quite young sector for the world. And it is younger in Turkey. In 2010, we had our baby steps. Now we are walking, and there are important names, companies, exits and acquisitions in Turkey, and our Turkish firms becoming more and more popular actually. Peak was the leader, and the Gram company was really successful and rolling as well. So Turkish gaming sector can be really good. We see it. And also our teams, they sell their games, they receive investment, and it makes us happy because it proves that yes, we are capable of doing something, supporting the area. So we also try to improve ourselves as the esthetician. I think that acting alone in this sector is quite challenging. All actors, starting with the government and as well policymakers, especially they need to show actually their intention, and they should provide support. The biggest problem is that we're lacking of human source, educated human source. So this year, hopefully we will focus on that. Atom, Middle East Technical University, GATS, we cooperate together, and we will start a certification program so that we can support the whole country. Not everybody can maybe establish a firm. It's not a necessity, but at least we can, one way or another, directly or indirectly, can support the whole country in that journey. Well, as I have told you, we maybe admit if 10 or 15 teams, yes, 2 or 3 of them just become a company afterwards, but rest of the teams start working in actually game companies afterwards, which means that we are indirectly actually raising educated people for the sector. I think that the pillar of education is very important. Young people, in addition to a certification program, I would recommend them to study actually in universities, if possible. Games and the gaming, well, education field sometimes are criticized actually by the society. People sometimes just spread false information by saying that games can actually create maybe addiction, and we as well fight against that. And the Generation Z is quite innovative and creative, and they are really open to this sector. Well, I would recommend them to be part of this journey because they are naturally talented on this issue. While, of course, each student is concerned about their future, their education, their career, and maybe they can think of gaming industry as a career field because it is quite a technology adaptive sector, and technology is used very frequently. While to work for an American company, you don't have to live or study in America. Anything can be done remotely. This pandemic has shown it to us and has proved it. While a company, if this company employs 10 people, these 10 people, they do not have to work within the same space. So anything is possible. There are great options and opportunities. We live in a global world, and you can become a global employee if you are talented enough, because there are a lot of international companies that are looking for local talents. I'm sure that 90% of the companies need actually educated human source. So young people, they really need to actually follow all courses and trainings. And while this is the actually the maybe the peak for universities, it has to be peak for universities. We can really lead our students to this field. Well, in the field of education, unfortunately, we have very few programs. We only have a few master's program and maybe a few undergraduate degrees. I think that there has to be more options, more programs, and we do our best by creating a certification program, so that we can maybe actually be a remedy for this problem. Young developers, what should they do? Where to start and how to start? I think that the most important thing is, well, of course, having technical information is a necessity. However, as maybe a side factor, by the way, dominating software is important, but speaking a foreign language is a must. Well, young generation, the young people are afraid of speaking foreign languages. While we are talking about a global product and a global sector, and you cannot exactly work here without actually speaking a foreign language, and primarily English, I mean. I recommend young people to actually progress in terms of speaking English. We do not know where to head, you know, in life. You might maybe apply to different projects, different firms, international firms, but it will be a pity if you miss such an important maybe opportunity just because that you cannot speak properly a foreign language. So I think that as well, young people should keep reading, researching on the field. Never give up on actually searching on this area. Even social scientists can learn about programming. We are not open only to engineers, we're open to all people coming from different backgrounds. Anyone who would like to be an entrepreneur are welcomed actually in our field. The only thing is your interest and your talent related to gaming. This is what we are seeking for. And of course, the issue is that you should be capable of creating what you're claiming for. I think that in addition to all what I have said, it is really important to form a good team. Earlier you start, the better it is. The younger you are, and if you're young and you create a team, then the possibilities of being successful would go up. because creating such a company culture or such a team culture would be better, and the bonds would be stronger if you are younger, because there's the spirit of the team. And I think that well, I think that you can, of course, improve yourself by sitting in your room and by looking at computer and doing what you can do. However, on the other hand, you can apply to us or other institutions and incubation centers such as Atom, and you can maybe improve faster. So this is the reason that we are created, because we are cooperating with international institutions, international companies. We have talent pools, and we want as well Turkish people to be part of this pool. And you can do it via us, by using the opportunities of Atom, because you will be part of the whole ecosystem, and this is how you will start. Because it is an ecosystem, there are experienced people, inexperienced people, and you can learn from each other. So that's why I would maybe suggest you to get outside of your room and please be part of such actually platforms. Either it can be Atom or Neutron or Proton even. So there are many actually institutions. Please look for them. I know many in Istanbul and in Izmir cities. There are co-working spaces in big cities. Please go to these places and try to create networks. Discord is really essential in that regard, because it is an online incubation center even, Discord. It is. We also would like to cooperate with the Discord. We are open to that. Furthermore, let me say that I do not push for Atom, or I do not want to lead you only to Atom, but we are open to any type of cooperation. We keep actually partnering with many institutions and organizations. With the Game Factory, for example, last year we organized some activities. Well, it's really important to act together. No one is our competitor. We are just actors of the same sector. So that's why I believe that cooperating is very important, because it's going to contribute to the whole area, especially young generations will benefit out of it. So that's why what would I say is that try to be together with other entrepreneurs, be part of the networks, be part of the incubation centers, try to get together, act together. You can create similar projects, similar ideas. Well, anyone can make the same game, but sharing is caring, and we really care for information sharing because it's our culture. So with our activities, we actually try to do our best for enlarging this network, while our, of course, sources are not limitless, and we try to do our best.
Because when you enter into those incubation centers, you access those other private companies, because There are around about 30 game companies, for instance, in TEKNOKENT. These are structures that feed each other. Some come from Atom, for instance, talking about our own example. So they continuously are in touch with each other. They are interacting with each other, and they actually mingle together. And when you come together, you always exchange information or else the problems that you face. And within that, when you are involved in that relation of confidence, you benefit from sharing information with each other. It's not like we don't have any concerns as to whether our information would be stolen. Instead, on the contrary, people support each other. You gain that culture, you gain that sharing culture. For that reason, proceeding via such centers are really important. Otherwise, everybody would just stay at their home individually. And that would be it. And they could like develop their games accordingly, but in such areas in TEKNOKENT and incubation, you access more investors, you become a part of the network. For instance, when you place games into global markets, people who have been in your position before, who have had those problems before, would enable you to solve the problems that you encounter at that very moment. That's why being a part of that network is really important. These centers are affiliated to these universities. First of all, universities provide you student resource, academician resource, ideas they provide you so that you can maybe run common joint projects. Many universities, for instance, do have research labs where you can work on VR and AR. We're going to be establishing one. Middle East Technical University has one. So in that respect, being part in such areas, such spaces is really important for you. So, for instance, Middle East Technical University, TEKNOKENT, but there are also other TEKNOKENTs. There are 400 technology companies, for instance, in this TEKNOKENT. Of course, at some point, you can run a joint intervention with any one of those 400 companies. So, of course, when there is this huge condensation in one area, I'm sure that you will come up with cooperation. There are different acceleration programs, for instance, in those TEKNOKENTs, especially whereby new incubation startups benefit. They draft models for you. You can be a part of these models. So even if you cannot enter them when you're an alien, for instance, to these TEKNOKENTs or as incubation centers. Once you're a member of it, you're a part of it, then you can benefit from many incubation models, projects, new TEKNOKENT acceleration programs, for instance, that you can benefit from. If you are in such centers, what does Atom do, for instance? Bugged also does that. Game jams they carry out. And because on Discord, for instance, online, there is a game jam almost every week, every weekend. It's like a joint game development activity that lasts for 48 hours. You have to get involved. You have to be open to that. You have to be interacting with people. This unity, information sharing teams should be suited and booted for all of this. Please do not feel concerned that your idea would be stolen. If that idea belongs to you, nobody can do it better than you. So in that respect, unfortunately, in the technology world, uh, legally we cannot limit, of course, prevent game ideas to be stolen. I can't say that nothing happens, but in such a cultural context, people do not feel afraid of sharing information, sharing their ideas. They do not feel timid in sharing their problems first and foremost, and that's how they proceed. So we have to reinforce the sector, and we have to enable the stakeholders of this sector to strengthen the sector, empower the sector, including the entrepreneurs. Whether online or as physical online, actually we're trying to do something online in the upcoming periods. It's really important to take part in such events, such initiatives. and you get easy access to development agencies support, governmental support, for instance, through TEKNOKENT, and many entrepreneurship experience you gain, and companies involved in these incubation centers, it's much easier for them to access such grants, such governmental support. Of course, I'm not saying that you be be on a any random free zone, but intellectually, idea wise, please remain, exist in those areas whereby there are companies who share the similar, who do similar works with you. Most of this work is free of charge. I mean, yes, over income sharing, there are, I mean, the investment opportunities have tremendously increased, by the way. Everybody, of course, as there are many investors that seek for game ideas in order to win together, make money together, and they actively come to those development centers, those technokents like Atom, because it's impossible for them to access game developers who are just idly sitting in their homes. So for that reason, as a starting point, these areas are really important. So what do we provide as Atom? Educational support, industrial support, university support, and we are open 24/7. For instance, your tea, coffee is always there, and we provide you a really clean and neat working environment, and extremely comfortable chairs. We cannot provide you beds with, yes, that's for sure, but you can even spend 24 hours and you can enjoy a really comfortable working environment. As long as you come over, you get dealing with your games and do not lose your focus and only develop your game. That is the ultimate thing that we want from you. That is why Atom exists. All in all, the existence of structures like Atom actually contributes to forming a gaming development culture within Turkey. So that's why each initiative is, and each entry joining is really important. As Atom, we try to support all in initiatives. To whatever university calls us, we go up to them and we explain about our centers. Whatever intervention initiative which we think is important, valuable, or as it contributes to the sector, we try to support them. Why should we jointly work together? Because, for instance, you would buy one or else like two cars at the most, and like drive them for many years. But game is not like that. Like on PC, you've got another game, mobile, you've got another one. And when you travel via train, you play another game, console, PC, telephone, you name it. So on different devices, you've got different games and you play them at different moments, and that is the product that we're talking about. So in this respect, a real gamer is not like hooked up on a single game all through his her life. That is the same, especially in hyper casual. At the same time, we play many games. I mean, on our games on our mobile, for instance, we've got a couple of games that we've downloaded so far. So if we get bored with one, then we switch to another. So there is this fast consumption cycle that is going on. Excuse me, we've got three questions, Emek. Yes, why final one or two sentences, and then I will proceed with the question. Well, thank you very much for warning. I don't want to repeat myself, of course. Let me just briefly summarize what I have explained so far. It's really important to be a really good team, whereby you can allocate responsibilities properly and whereby people treat respectfully each other. Secondly, a pre-incubation and incubation center, being a part of them is really important. It would really benefit you and develop you. If you don't have a company, you could like be involved in a company and be a part of this incubation sector, incubation network. And thirdly, language, foreign language is really important, and reading is important. Developing yourself is really important. Continuous development is really majorly important. So we try to support all entrepreneurs who are trying to access us. and who send emails to us. We try to respond to them. Okay, so now let's proceed with the Q&A if you like. I see 4 questions on the Q&A, Serdar, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, exactly, 4 questions so far. Okay, so does Atom have a Discord channel? Yes, of course it has. Atom in games. We use that on social media. Atom in games. You can find us on social media, our logo, our Atom logo. You can find it and follow us. And can we make individual applications instead of team applications? Yes, you can do so. However, we believe that this game work is a teamwork. However, we're trying to set you in a team in our centers. I mean, individually you can apply us. So we bundle them, we bring them together, and we enable these people to cooperate. I mean, can we come up with teams? Yes, of course, because we've got many teams actually have been established and now where they are companies now, but they had actually had this individual application in the very first place. Of course, this is just a trial. Actually, you're not obliged to become a part of a team and like set up your company. But if like you want to if you want to establish a company, this is teamwork, friends. The earlier you have your own team, the better it is. Of course, you can apply individually. If you've got a good experience, a good game, we would accept you in Atom. We would like you to work there, and maybe you could benefit other teams individually. And then if somebody drops out from a specific team, for instance, you can like join that team. There are different types of scenarios. Uh, it's not that we like always like pressurize people to become as teams. So what kind of technical support do you provide? Yes, we've got a good internet infrastructure, and also we will have a better internet infrastructure. We're trying to provide that. Software support, well, in some respect, yes, we can provide software support, but if you're going to convert your work into a commercial thing, then for some time with the UT cooperation that we have, during your commercialization process, we provide you discounts, for instance. I mean, yes, I mean, we can most probably provide you software support. We don't have an unlimited storage of technical infrastructure. It's not that we can give you a PC right away, but you have to put forth your demand, your request, and then we swiftly manage our budget, create our budget, and give you the support. And also, you don't have to create mobile games when you are in Atom. As long as the content of the project and the team are compatible with each other. That is our special request, the only special request. And in that respect, we want the team to make us feel that they can succeed in doing this. And we need not like be involved in the mobile sector only. We do not only focus on the mobile sector. We give importance to all sorts of games. However, I don't know whether it is to do with the wind. Mostly like we receive mobile game teams, whereas hyper casual game teams, we do not actually say no to the teams who would like to go for PC games. But what we say is that in the future, this can change because there is experience there. And if they're in line with that experience, why not? Apart from that, they can like work on all sorts of games. After your acceptance, can team members work remotely? Well, after your acceptance, that we had teams who were not in Ankara, for instance, people who were actually in Istanbul. Of course, we want them to be in Atom physically. We want them to feel that sincerity in that environment, that atmosphere, and share their information. But especially in today's world, this is not a 100% necessity now. Of course, we want Atom to be used physically so that everybody comes along and like have sip their teas, and that the lights are always turned on, so that information is always exchanged. That is what we want. Indeed. However, people who are remote, we're trying to give them the full support. It's not that physically, if they are not with Atom, that they emotionally, spiritually, they are not with us. Okay, so if your team members are also studying at university, then what happens? Yeah, we've got plenty of members who are university students. During their examination period, they do not pop in at all. During the day, for instance, they are take their classes, their courses, so we cannot find any team members in Atom, but in the evening, in the afternoon, they come along after their classes are over. It's not a problem at all. Do you set a specific limit for your team numbers? No. As long as we have got the space, we try to welcome teams as much as we can, as many as we can. Like 10 to 15 teams we were welcoming every year, but now we are doubling the size of our space. Most probably we will be able to welcome many more teams as long as people apply, teams apply, and they'd like to join us. What is the final application date? It's 11th of June, but we can prolong that, extend that. Please follow us on our social media. With June, again, we will make an announcement about for teams to apply to us. So please, I mean, you just make your application and let's have the interview, the discussion. We can have this discussion before the project submission or as during it. You can always get in touch with us through social media, and you can also email us. You can also find me on social media and get in touch with me and with Atom accordingly. So we even try to help you during your application, but our final application date is 11th of June, but maybe they could extend that period. I don't know the current situation now. I think that we've completed the questions also. I hope that my speech was beneficial. Yeah, thank you so very much, Mr. Emek, for your participation. I thank you for your invitation. If we don't have any further questions, yes, we can end this session. Yes, it's all up to you. You are the boss. Okay, thank you so very much. I thank you indeed for your invitation, and thank you very much to Indieway. I congratulate you, by the way, for this hard work. You carry out great work. I wish you further success. Thank you so very much. Hope to see you. Take good care of yourselves. You do as well. Bye-bye.